Ladies and gentlemen, have you ever seen a scandal so messy, so tangled, that you need a full diagram just to keep up? Well, buckle up, because Remy Ma has allegedly just blown the lid off a love triangle that wasn't even a triangle, it was a straight-up chaos polygon dot, according to whispers from people in the room. Remy isn't just hinting anymore. She's allegedly exposing Claressa Shields for playing both men at the same time. Yes, the undefeated GWAT of boxing may have been undefeated in the ring, but in the arena of juggling relationships, she might be holding a world record. The claim that while Claressa was publicly cozying up to Papoose, she was still very much keeping her original man, Tony Rich, in the picture, and not as an ex, but as the main guy. If that's true, then Papoose wasn't just a side quest. He was a decoy in a bigger game. So was Claressa running a championship-level double play? Or is Remy just stirring the pot for the most savage revenge arc hip-hop has ever seen? We're diving deep. Fake die, Ms. accidental sightings, and anonymous sources with receipts you won't believe. And trust me, it only gets messier from here. If there's one thing the hip-hop world thrives on, it's chaos, disguised as just another week in the culture. But every so often, a story drops that's so juicy, so tangled, it forces everyone from diehard fans to casual shade watchers to stop scrolling and focus. And right now, that story belongs to Claressa Shields and the two men she allegedly played like they were warm-up opponents before the real fight. At the center of this explosive mess is Remy Ma, who, according to multiple sources close to the situation, has decided to stop letting subtle shade do the work and start naming names. The rapper turned reality TV icon allegedly told friends that Claressa Shields, the self-proclaimed GWAT of boxing, wasn't just balancing her career, endorsements, and fight prep. She was balancing two men at the same time with the precision of a Vegas card dealer. The men, none other than Papoose, Remy's arranged husband and hip-hop's one-time poster boy for loyalty, and Tony Rich, Claressa's longtime fiancé. Yes, fiancé as in already claimed. The same Tony who Claressa posed with on Instagram. It's the same Tony who was spotted ringside at her fights. The same Tony fans assumed was the only man in her corner. Turns out, these allegations are true. He wasn't the only man there. He was just the official one. It all started, allegedly, during a star-studded charity event where Claressa and Papoose were coincidentally seated at the same VIP table. Multiple attendees claimed they were inseparable that night, sharing inside jokes, leaning in close, and generally looking like two people who weren't worried about public perception. Sure, at the time it could have been brushed off as networking until the sightings started stacking up. Anonymous tipsters began sending gossip blogs, blurry photos, Claressa and Papoose in the same hotel lobby just minutes apart, dining in a low-key Brooklyn restaurant with Papoose wearing a cap pulled low, like he didn't want to be recognized, and most damningly leaving a private after-party together well past midnight. On the surface, it looked like Claressa was simply moving on from Tony, except she wasn't, because while she was popping up with Papoose, he was still posting lovey-dovey selfies with Tony. And Tony, for his part, was playing along, liking her posts, leaving heart emojis in the comments, and appearing publicly with her as if nothing had changed. Now, here's where the Remy Ma factor takes this from petty gossip to headline of the year. According to one industry friend who swears they were in the room, Remy learned about the Claressa-Papoose connection months before the public caught wind. Instead of confronting Claressa directly, she allegedly decided to watch it play out, collecting details, saving screenshots, and letting the storyline ripen like a scandal-shaped fruit. Her reasoning? Pure strategy. Remy knows the industry, and she knows timing is everything. Drop the bomb too early and it's just another messy rumor. Wait until the story's legs have grown, and suddenly you're the one delivering the knockout punch. The plot thickened when one particularly bold gossip blog claimed to have leaked DMs between Claressa and Papoose. The alleged messages were dripping with flirtation, including lines like, "You're different from the rest," and "Tony don't need to know everything." Whether these messages were real or the creation of a bored Photoshop wizard remains unverified, but they were enough to ignite a full-blown social media firestorm. Within hours, hashtags like #ToMenSameTime and #Claressa crossover were trending. TikTok was flooded with skits, reenacting imaginary arguments between Claressa, Papoose, and Tony. Twitter was a battlefield of boxing puns. She's undefeated in the ring and in juggling hearts. And Instagram meme pages went into overdrive. Meanwhile, Papoose stayed silent. No interviews, no cryptic freestyles, just absence, which, for a man whose brand once revolved around publicly defending his woman, was telling. Some interpreted it as guilt, others as humiliation. Tony, in contrast, seemed completely unfazed either, because he truly believed Claressa's loyalty, or because he already knew and was playing the long game. Rumors began swirling that Tony and Claressa had an understanding about her public image that keeping her name in headlines was just good branding for the couple. One anonymous insider even claimed Tony was in on it the whole time, enjoying the quiet satisfaction of knowing he was the one she came home to. And then, the twist. Out of nowhere, Remy posted a series of cryptic Instagram stories. No faces. No names, just black and white text slides reading things like, "When you feed to people from the same plate, someone's going to starve." And I told y'all, the truth always comes to light. Fans went feral. Within minutes, the comments were flooded with Claressa's name, demands for receipts, bet, and predictions that Remy was about to launch the messiest diss track of her career. But if Remy was enjoying the chaos, she was doing it with calculated restraint. While the internet screamed for her to spill everything, she kept her lips sealed, in public at least. Behind closed doors, whispers claimed she was preparing to go on record with what she knew. And if that happened, it wouldn't just be bad for Claressa's personal brand. It could rattle her endorsements, her fight promotions, and the carefully cultivated image of the unshakable champion. The industry chatter was relentless. Some insiders painted Claressa as a master manipulator, capable of running to high-profile relationships without either man walking away. Others defended her as a woman simply living her truth, implying that the double play was her business, and no one else's. But for Remy Ma, this wasn't about a woman living her truth. This was personal. Papoose wasn't just some random name in the mix. He was the man she defended, uplifted, and stood beside for years. If he was going to risk that for someone else, she wanted the world to know exactly who and exactly how. And here's the part nobody can agree on was Remy's decision to speak out really about exposing Claressa? Or was it about sending a message to Papoose? Because in the court of public opinion, dragging Claressa through the mud drags Papoose right along with her. A double hit that keeps Remy's hands clean while still making her point. One thing's for sure, this story wasn't going away anytime soon. The pieces were in motion. The timelines were being scrutinized. And the next leak was inevitable. What? Nobody knew. Not yet was just how explosive that next leak would be. And how many more people it would pull into the blast radius. The next leak didn't just arrive, it detonated. Early Tuesday morning, one of the biggest gossip blogs in the game posted a carousel titled simply, "Two Men, Same Time, Same Woman." The first slide, a side-by-side collage of Claressa Shields with Tony Rich on one side and Papoose on the other. The second slide, a blurred screenshot of what appeared to be Claressa's private messages, except the captions on each thread were different names. Different dates, but eerily similar wording. Both men, it seemed, were being fed the exact same lines. "You're the one I can trust. You understand me better than anyone." The screenshots were fake, they were convincing enough to set the internet ablaze. If they were real, they were proof that Claressa was running a playbook worthy of its own Netflix documentary. And right there in the third slide sat the quote that threw gasoline on the already raging fire. Tony don't need to know everything. Papoose don't either. Fans lost their minds. Within hours, hashtag Tony and PAPOSE was trending, and the jokes were merciless. Claressa Shields, undefeated in the ring, undefeated in double-booking relationships. Memes of boxing scorecards, reading 10. 2-9. Claressa flooded Instagram. TikTok creators reenacted imaginary group chats between all four players. It's complete with shady sound effects and dramatic music. But behind the memes, the real conversation was turning ugly. Anonymous insiders began to pile on, each claiming to have seen something. One alleged former team member told Gossip Spill Vibe, "This wasn't a fling. This was calculated." She knew exactly how to keep both of them in rotation without them crossing paths, at least until now. The public reaction was split. Claressa's hardcore fans defended her, saying her personal life was nobody's business. Others argued that the hypocrisy was too much, especially for someone who publicly preached about loyalty, discipline, and focus. And then there were the Remy Ma loyalists, who saw this as karmic justice, not just for Claressa, but for Papoose himself. Because here's the twist. While the spotlight was roasting Claressa, Papoose wasn't exactly getting sympathy. In fact, more than a few people were openly laughing at the fact that the man once hailed as the loyal husband had managed to become. Both the cheater and the cheated on, all in the same storyline. And then, right on cue, Remy Ma broke her silence. She didn't do an interview. She didn't drop a diss track. Okay? She went live unannounced, unfiltered, and unapologetic. Sitting in a dimly lit room, she spoke directly to the camera. "Y'all want to know if it's true? I'm not here to lie to you. I'm not here to protect anybody. Yes, I knew. I knew a long time ago. And I let it play out because some lessons got to be learned the hard way." The comment section went nuclear. People were begging for details, asking if she had receipts, tagging Claressa and Tony. Remy kept it cool, refusing to spill specifics, but making it crystal clear that she had no intention of defending Papoose. From the fallout, and just when it seemed like the story had peaked, the fourth player finally made a move. Tony Rich, who had been silent through the entire saga, posted a photo of himself and Claressa in the gym. No caption, no explanation, just a smirk and a pair of boxing glove emojis. If the goal was to send a message, it worked. The implication was clear. Whatever happened, Tony wasn't going anywhere. This sent the conspiracy machine into overdrive. Was Tony in on this the whole time? Was he unbothered because he already knew? Or was this a subtle victory lap? A quiet way of saying, I won. She's still here, and the rest of you can deal with it. Meanwhile, Papoose was still silent, at least in public. Behind the scenes, insiders claimed he was in damage control mode, calling mutual friends. Trying to get his own version of events out before the next leak dropped. Said he was furious with Remy for speaking out. Others said he was furious with himself for letting it get this far. But the real kicker. A brand new rumor began circulating that this entire saga, the sightings, the screenshots, even the timing of Remy's live, was being quietly filmed for a reality show pitch. Multiple sources claimed production companies were circling, hoping to turn the chaos into a limited DOA series. And if that's true, it means everyone involved has a potential incentive to keep the drama alive, long enough to sell the story. Bye. Now, the lines between fact and fiction were completely blurred. Was Claressa really juggling both men? Was Tony genuinely unbothered? Was Remy telling the whole truth, or just the part that made her look like the ultimate puppet master? And was Papoose a victim, or just the latest casualty of his own bad decisions? One thing was certain, there was no going back to normal. The story had too much momentum, too many unanswered questions, and far too many people invested in seeing how it played out. And as one veteran gossip columnist put it, in this industry, your personal life is either a shield or a weapon. And right now, everybody's aiming at everybody else. Which brings us right to the edge of the next chapter. It's a chapter where alliances shift, new players emerge, and someone drops the kind of receipt that can't be walked back. If you thought the Claressa, Papoose, Tony, Remy saga had already hit its peak, you clearly underestimated how messy this game can get. Because just as the internet was settling into its usual cycle of memes and half-baked conspiracy threads, somebody dropped a receipt. And not just any receipt, the receipt. At exactly 9:47 p.m. on a Thursday night, a verified gossip page posted a 12-second video clip allegedly recorded inside a well-known Midtown lounge. The lighting was low, the music was loud, but the camera angle was perfect. Claressa Shields, sitting in a corner booth, leaned over to whisper something in Papoose's ear. He laughed, she smiled, and then the frame shifted. Tony Rich walked into view, the timestamp just 1 week before Claressa's Instagram post declaring forever with Tony. The clip was instantly dissected frame by frame, as clearly the same jackets she wore in Tony's post from that night. One user tweeted. Another asked, how is she sitting with Pap and posting about Tony in the same breath? The hashtags #doublebooked and #Claressa exploded across platforms. Within hours, the video had over 3 million views. And the commentary was savage. Boxing fans joked that Claressa's real footwork wasn't in the ring. It was in dodging her own calendar overlaps. Hip-hop blogs dragged Papoose for looking too comfortable in what they dubbed the booth of betrayal. But here's where things went nuclear. Remy Ma reposted the clip. No caption, no tag, just the video and a single emoji. It was the confirmation her followers had been waiting for. She was posting it, she believed it. And that meant the conversation wasn't just about Claressa anymore. It was about what Papoose knew when he knew it and why he stuck around. From there, the fallout was fast. Sponsors began quietly distancing themselves from everyone involved. A sportswear brand that had just signed a deal with Claressa pulled down a campaign photo from their Instagram. A small label reportedly froze Papoose's upcoming feature release. Even Tony, the man many assumed was the winner in all this, was hit with snide comments under his posts, questioning how much he was willing to overlook. Then, as if on cue, another twist landed. A source claiming to be a close friend of Mel Tony's came forward with a bombshell. Tony allegedly knew about Claressa's connection with Papoose the whole time. Not only that, but he supposedly told his friend that it didn't matter, because it's all part of the hustle. If it's true, that flips the entire narrative, making Tony less of a wronged fiancé and more of a willing co-star in a long-running PR stunt. This theory gained traction quickly, especially after old footage resurfaced of Tony joking during an interview, not understanding the business, and not taking everything personal. The internet immediately connected the dots. Maybe this wasn't betrayal at all. Maybe it was branding. But if that's the case, then what does that make Papoose? A collaborator, a pawn, or the one guy who didn't get the script? Meanwhile, whispers about the rumored reality show grew louder. An entertainment insider claimed that production companies had already been pitched a DOA-style series centered on Claressa's career, with exclusive access to her personal life. And yes, Papoose and Tony were allegedly part of the pitch deck. If this entire saga turns out to have been content for a show, it would explain the perfectly timed leaks, the conveniently vague public statements, and the way no one, not even the supposedly hurt parties, seems truly blindsided. But it would also mean that the public outrage, the sponsorship shakeups, and the internet drama were just collateral damage for a bigger payday. Still, there's one person who doesn't seem to be playing along: Remy Ma. If this is all a stunt, she's either not in on it, or she's decided to improvise her own subplot, one where she takes control of the narrative and makes sure her name stays trending without looking desperate. Her calculated social media moves have turned her into the internet's silent assassin, and her followers are eating it up. The tension reached new heights when Remy dropped a single line in an interview. When you know the truth, you sleep better. And I'm sleeping just fine. No follow-up, no explanation, just enough to keep people speculating. By now, the scandal has spiraled far beyond Claressa's alleged double play. It's become a messy, interconnected web of loyalty, image management, and weaponized publicity. Papoose's brand as hip-hop's loyal man is cracked. Claressa's image as the focused, disciplined champion is questioned. Tony's role as the steady fiancé is suddenly suspicious. And Remy, she's sitting at the center playing the game like she's been here before because she has. The unanswered questions, what, keep this alive. Was Claressa genuinely playing both men, or were they all in on a stunt? Did Tony truly not care, or is that just what he wants people to think? How much of Papoose's silence is pride? And how much is NDA? And is Remy Ma pulling strings, or just taking advantage of the perfect storm? One thing's certain, the story isn't over. The folder of receipts still hasn't been dropped. The reality show deal hasn't been confirmed or denied. And there's still the mystery of the off-camera conversations between Tony and Remy. Whatever comes next, it'll be loud, it'll be messy, and it'll be exactly the kind of chaos gossip spill vibe was made for. And there you have it. Saga so tangled it could make a telenovela jealous. Claressa Shields, the undefeated GWAT in the ring, now facing her toughest opponent yet. Public opinion, Papoose, once hip-hop's gold standard for loyalty, is caught in a storyline where he's somehow both the side piece and the headline. Tony Rich, the man the internet can't decide is the ultimate winner or the most unbothered co-star in history. And Remy Ma playing her cards. So precisely that the world can't tell if she's simply reacting or orchestrating the whole thing. But here's the kicker. This isn't over. Not when the folder of alleged receipts is still in someone's possession. Not when a rumored reality show could be sitting on hours of unseen footage. And not when every major player in an each story has the ability to drop a new bomb at any moment. So what do you think? Was Claressa really running both men at the same time? Or was this all just one massive PR stunt? Is Tony as unfazed as he seems? Or is he cashing in behind the scenes? Is Papoose a victim, a volunteer, or a collaborator? Who lost control of the script? And is Remy Ma the silent avenger, or the quiet puppet master pulling every string? Drop your theories in the comments. The wilder the better, because the tea isn't cold, it's boiling. Smash that like button if you want every twist, every leak, every shady post broken down right here. And don't forget to subscribe to Gossip Spill Vibe for the stories they don't want you to hear. Turn on notifications because trust me, when the next piece of this puzzle drops, you'll want to be front row for the chaos. This isn't the end, it's just the next.